Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the third episode of Did Jesus Exist? I'm so sorry for my wet hair. I was just on a double date and it started storming. If you haven't watched the other two videos in the series, then I recommend you do, because it's always good to get multiple non-biblical sources that prove Jesus' existence. Today's source is from the Roman historian Cornelius Tacitus. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce any of these names because they're hard names to pronounce. He was known to be an effective speaker and went from substitute consul to proconsul in Asia Minor. He was known to be hateful towards Jews and Christians. He wrote 5 histories chronicles, of which 4 and part of the 5th has survived. It covers the history of Galba and the beginning of the reign of Vespasian. He also wrote a 12-volume set, and the title of it is in the description. It starts with the reign of Tiberius, whose reign predates Jesus' ministries. The part that pertains to Jesus is in Book 15, Chapter 44. Quote, consequently, to get rid of the report, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace. Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilatus. And a most mischievous superstition, thus checked for at the moment, again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome, where all things hideous and shameful from every part of the world find their center and become popular. Accordingly, an arrest was first made of all who pleaded guilty, then upon their information an immense multitude was convicted, not so much of the crimes of firing the city as of the hatred of mankind. Mockery of every sort was added to their deaths. Covered with the skin of beasts, they were torn by dogs and perished, or were nailed to crosses, or were doomed to the flames and burned, to serve as a nightly illumination when daylight had expired. End quote. Here we can see some bias towards Christianity and something consistent with the 2 previous sources and the Bible. Firstly, Christians were hated, which is seen in John 15:18. If the world hates you, know that it hated me before you. Secondly, Jesus suffered the extreme penalty, which is consistent with Jesus being brutally beaten up and hung on the cross. Thirdly, we see in this source that he was sentenced to the cross by Pilates. There is a reference to a mischievous superstition, which for that time is very likely to be the claim that Jesus rose from the dead. It also addresses the growing Christianity by stating it wasn't just reawakened in Judea, but also in Rome. Lastly, we know Christus means Jesus because it says, Christus, from whom the name had its origin. To conclude, this is a source with a clear hatred towards Christianity. Despite that, there are many things that are similar to the Bible and the other 2 sources discuss. This is more proof that Jesus existed. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.